Okay, today what we're actually going to be doing is a review of an EVP session that was conducted on the 31st of July 2020 at a business address just outside Chester. We're going to be doing this as part one. This may turn into a two-part review. I've already looked at parts 3 and 4. And they're under movies 144 and 145. The general idea behind this is just to really gives people an idea of how to analyse audio and to look various theories into more detail. One of the aspects of this particular EVP session, it was conducted alone with the investigator Amanda Griffiths, is that this particular building we've been investigating for, we're getting probably on for 3 months now, is showing high levels of activity, visual phenomena, considerable amount of raps, knocks and bangs, and as well as EVPs and other strange light anomalies. We run into the hundreds of these, and because we investigated very early on, we got captured this activity quite early. We've actually, in a way, evolved with it. So, certainly in the case of parts 3 and 4, under movies 144 and 145, you will see an intelligence conversation taking place between the two investigators and what appears to be some type of intelligence phenomena. Some people call it a spirit. This particular one was done earlier, and what I've only briefly listened to clips of it. I've certainly not reviewed all of it, so I thought it would be good today to do the review live, see if we can cover anything together and explain exactly what we're trying to do. So one thing about the raps, which is what we're suggesting, is what this phenomena is able to answer by. 1 rap for yes, 2 raps for no. Old Victorian way of doing things. It may sound cheesy, but I can assure you it's incredibly effective. If a spirit wants to make contact with you, it's not necessarily going to be doing it via an EVP. You don't know what the answer is anyway, so it's difficult. And likewise, disembodied voices. There's a fair argument to say that a spirit doesn't have a mouth or an ears to listen to, so that may explain the reason why it has difficulty with some forms of communication. But certainly, raps has been used now for well over 100 years, and we see no reason why we can't continue with that. So what we're looking at are really a couple of aspects. One is we know these raps tend to be within 800 to 1000 hertz, that sort of frequency. So I'll just use a cursor. So it's around here. You see this little, like small mountain on this very tight frequency. Because the room is completely empty, you would expect the spread of frequency, because you've got the natural reverberation, I should say, of the building, because it's completely devoid of all furniture. It's just room 55 foot long by 35 foot width. No ceiling, it's straight into the alcove of the roof, and just thin carpet tiles, that's it, incredibly empty. And when you walk in there, it sounds echoey, yet these raps do not appear to contain any form of resonance or reverberation, which is strange. The other aspect we're going to look at is the time between the question being asked and the rap occurring, if there is indeed a rap. So we will listen to the rap, we'll then go backwards to find out when the question was asked. We'll do some times with it as well. And if you are interested in this type of review, get yourself a pen and paper. You might want to do this yourself as well, and just to see if we're able to get some form of intelligent responses as well to a timed sequence. The time is quite important because on part 3 or 4, the reason why I'm interested in doing this one today is that we were receiving responses within a particular time frame. The longest we waited was around about 8 or 9 seconds, and the quickest raps were around about 2 to 3 seconds. But they would come in sequences. So, you'd have a number of 8 seconds, and it would change to 5 seconds, then 3 seconds. So, what I'm using today, the right hand side is just a straight spectrum analyzer, nothing too complex with that. I'm just using EQ. I'm not, you can see it's completely flat. I'm just going to use it as really an amplifier. I know on previous EVPs are able to turn it up to roughly about 15-16 decibel increase there. The recorder's Olympus to make sure we can hear these raps, because they do come out in different volumes, so I want to make sure we can hear that. If necessary, we will turn the volume up or down if that's the case. The left hand side is a simple 3D sort of spectrum. It's being suggested is might be useful with comparisons to a 2D two definition analyzer, which is the right. This one's in 3D. You'll see the differences. We'll just give you a quick sample.
Amanda entering the room again.
And the idea behind this is just to make sure that we do get this frequency right, because we've probably looked at around about 200 raps, knocks and bangs now, and this is very, very clear what it is that we're looking for. So I've heard it so often I don't even know the sound now, but we just use the frequency side just to back that data up. So we'll make a start. There will be a bit of stopping starting, and I will be tagging it as we go. It may take a minute or so, we'll see how we go, before the investigator settles down. There's 4 investigators in the building. Amanda Griffiths is in this room on her own. The rest of us, including myself, the 3 of us, are making our way back to the empty office, which is at the far end of the building, and we'll monitor from there. So maybe a little bit of noise as people are coming and going, and then hopefully the session will start.
Amanda entering the room again. Okay. I'll do an EVP session once the outside contamination is gone. The voices you can hear are Tony and Andrew outside on the landing.
We'll quickly fast forward on there. You can see on this one, on this particular graph, we've got a little bit of 5,000 to maybe 15,000 hertz frequency. It's high end. Can't really hear it. The other meter isn't actually picking it up. I'll probably get away with that. Yeah, it may just because it's quite sensitive. You see that there? That's sounding like an aircraft. Yes, it does actually sound like an aircraft.
I think that's an owl or a bird or something.
Yeah, Amanda's acknowledging that she could hear that. I just realised that this left meter is 2D, not 3D, but we'll keep them running anyway, because if anything it looks pretty. probably hear that yourself. This particular meter is quite sensitive. It's beginning to pick that sound up. That could be problematic, but
yes, it's raining.
yeah. It's around about 11 p.m. on Friday the 31st of July. Yes, so considerable noise going on outside. I can only apologise for that.
That's doors banging.
Now, about a week ago, I was sent an EVP, a audio with a couple of apps and an EVP in there. And while I was listening to it, I could actually hear a siren. And listening back to this particular audio, I can hear the siren again. It reminds me very much of a Second World War air raid siren. I used to work in a company called ICI for about 12 years, and they actually used one of these for when you were due to clock on, lunchtime, clocking off. Over 12 years, probably heard it thousands of times. I also lived about 3.5 miles away, and I could hear that. So on my days off, I could hear it in the morning. So the sound does travel. Now, I can hear this again. It's this siren that increases in sound before again backing back up again. And this is continuous to ensure that the frequency is picked up by people, because its obviously intention is to warn you of a possible air raid coming in your direction. The building of the investigation is around about 20 years old, but it's actually built onto the footprint of a Georgian building complex. It used to be a brickworks all the way up through into the 1960s. So, because this building's showing levels of spirit activity as well as residual energy, we're talking ghost hauntings, are we listening to something that's within the building itself? You know, the old stone tape theory, because it does sound very much like an air raid shelter, or air raid siren, I should say. About 3/4 of a mile away, just outside Chester, there was from this location, there was a Second World War airbase built in about 1943 and fell out of use after the Second World War ended in 1945-46. They would undoubtedly have had a air raid siren. So I'm not sure. So what I'm actually going to do with this, I'm going to mark it up. Because what is one thing that the other clip that I listened to was very short. This one sounds much longer, and we'll just see if we can actually work with this to see if we can get it sounding any better. So I'm just going to back it a little bit to make sure we pick this up. There's a door.
That's doors banging.
There now. Let's go back. Now, this location is in the middle of nowhere. I'd say it's a good, I'd say 1/4 mile away from a main road. Well, if it is a main road, it's just a normal B road. There's no housing around it. I'm really unsure why we're hearing this sound.
doors banging.
It starts there. So all we're going to do, we're going to mark this up. I'll call it siren start. I'm always interested in your own thoughts on these types of things. Leave me in the comment box, please. You may have some other ideas. You know, I'm not saying I'm right. I do often get proved to be wrong on a number of occasions. I don't find a problem with that at all. Seems to be here, I think. Yeah, it's there. It's just 200. It's 200 hertz. One thing we could possibly do, I don't want to do it today, although this is maybe it's going to be long enough, is we can actually start to look for samples of sirens, because I'm pretty confident that this is around about here, 200 hertz. I'll get the EQ ready for this. There it goes. There you go. It's certainly 200. Just a question of getting out of that one and picking it back up. This sometimes will increase the frequency enough for you to give you a decision on what exactly it is, and hear it clearer. Okay. Just going to put siren end. Listen to it again. It's about 11 o'clock at night. It's raining. We know, because Amanda just mentioned that. A motorbike, possibly. Might explain that. Well, listen back to it just one more occasion, and if you've got any ideas yourself what this could be, please let me know. Certainly a large motorbike with some of the silencers, or lack of silencers that they have, may account for that. I think I can discount now the motorbike theory, and the reason for that is that if that's a bike, it's going at some sort of speed. It's the sound itself is pretty constant. It's stationary. So unless he's there on the centre stand with the throttle or something wide open, I don't believe that's an object moving, such as a motorbike either coming towards a building or going away. You'd expect a gradual decrease. It just doesn't. I'm not with that one at all. I'm fairly convinced now that it's not a bike or a car for that matter. It's something else, or them to come back to. So we'll carry on with the rest of it. So what I'm actually going to do now is we'll put the EQ back to flat. You know, we generally have an idea where that is, and we can do some research on 200 hertz. It's easy enough to do. You can use Google for that. if you've got a theory, and just see what works within 200 hertz. It's base frequency, quite low end. I'm just not sure. I'm not convinced it's something within the building, such as a hand dryer, that type of thing. I know the air conditioning units were switched off. That's around about 50 hertz. We have recorded that in the building. I just don't know what this siren sound is. It's high enough because to suggest it's close by, because I've not amplified it by too much, and you can actually hear it with no volume increase at all. Interesting.
Those knocks and bangs are in the roof.
One, two.
Those knocks and bangs are in the roof.
Three.
And that
Clearly you'd heard them. Amanda's indicating come from the roof area. The most common area this is when things occur, is around about the skirting board. This is obviously coming from the roof. Where it's still raining, it's been raining. A difficult one that. Let's pick that up.
those knocks and bangs are in the roof.
That's three.
And that was the skirting board.
There, that one. I'll get rid of this. It's pretty much a distraction for me, that is. You see it's a bit left there. Maybe a bit more. You see there, there you go.
Those knocks. Those knocks and bangs are in the roof. And that was the skating board. They're in the roof. And that was the skating board.
Another one there.
Roof. Roof.
Oh, that's a... That is a loud one. What we've noticed with this particular building is that when Amanda Griffiths is there seemed to be an increase, a big increase in raps, knocks and bangs. When the business owner's there, Andy, again, there seems to be a slight increase in raps. When I'm there, or the other colleague, the other Andy, isn't there, we get relatively little. When none of us are in the room, one occasion, two occasions actually, when we were away from the building in the other office for 45 minutes, we didn't get any raps, knocks and bangs at all. Once you walk in, the phenomena starts to occur, and this is in a brick-built building, double brick, steel framed. The roof joists and everything are steel, likewise with the floor or ceiling. These steel joists with concrete ceilings and floors. Incredibly strong building. We've ruled out the fact of the building settlement, but the sheer number of these unexplained raps, knocks and bangs. See it there. That actually has a slightly metallic sound to it. It doesn't sound wooden. That's quite interesting because it has I think it's a 24-inch metal joist running across the top of it. It sounds like metal impact, and this is, you can actually see this girder because there's no ceiling, it's just open plan. You can see all the framework, the steel framework, there's no wood up there, it's all metal. And that's incredibly loud. Yeah, okay. We'll move on. So that's 4 up to now.
Roof.
Yeah, roof area. Now I heard that.
Okay. Door. Roof. Roof. Door. Roof.
Now that's interesting, because the minute Amanda said roof, acknowledges the door, you hear the bang.
Door.
There you go.
Roof.
And the door, bang.
Roof. 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 Roof.
Ooh. Doors.
Doors.
Yeah, okay. What a nightmare. Okay, talking outside now.
Sleeping board. Sleeping board.
Okay, now it seems to move the skirting board. There's definitely location with this. She obviously, part of the human, once they hear a sound, they don't know exactly where it's coming from. If it's just a single mono sound. Initially, there was 5 strikes in the roof, and now it's moved back to the skirting board area. I heard one earlier, so I've actually put a question mark on that, because Amanda clearly didn't hear it, or she missed it. So I'm not sure where that came from.
Sleeping board.
Yeah. Ooh. It's an interesting one. Now, Amanda's not said anything about this particular one. No, she's not mentioned it. So once you're going to put that as a question, we could obviously certainly hear it. There's always been theories around that some noises that you hear could be in the form of an EVP, a sound that you don't hear at the time. We've not really discovered in this building if the raps are there. Okay, some are pre-recorded with CCTV cameras, but when we have been there, we've heard the raps. We've all heard the raps. So it may be just one that's been missed. So we'll question mark that anyway. It certainly would have been loud enough. I would have thought for Amanda to hear that. Yeah, there's another rap there. Amanda's again not said anything, and immediately after you can hear voices. So this session's a bit of a nightmare for her because there's obviously investigators moving around the building now, which is causing a big problem. Because recorders don't have selected hearing, they will record everything. So I can understand Amanda Griffiths' frustration here when people, all they need to do is just sit down and be quiet while she's doing this. I'm only talking around about 13 minutes, so I'm going to end this one anyway. It's 6 minutes, so we'll do it in 2 parts. I don't like movies that go on forever, so this one's quite lengthy already. So. Yeah, you can hear the voices, so it could well be them. One there. One.
Would somebody like to come forward and communicate with me? Would somebody like to come forward and communicate with me?
Okay. Amanda's now going into asking Spirit to communicate. Up to now we've got 5 from the roof area ramps. We've got 4 which we're not sure of. At least a couple of them could be caused by the investigators that are moved around, and we've got 1 in the skirting board. So I'm going to end the part 1 here, because the next 6 or 7 minutes will be based around this, where Amanda's now certainly going to attempt full-blown communication. So I'll see you in part 2.